Hello and welcome to OZChris versus DC Comics for week 2 of September, here with reviews of Batman and the Outsiders number 5, Detective Comics number 1011, The Flash number 78, and Justice League Odyssey number 13. So starting off with Batman and the Outsiders number 5, written by Brian Hill, art by Dexter Soy, coloring by Veronica Gandini, the cover by Tyler Kirkham and Ari Priento. So the Outsiders arrive in Kadim. I think it's called Kadim. Probably not how it's pronounced, but you know me, I can't pronounce anything properly. I literally just in a review for the Marvel Comics, I could not even say Mr. Sinister properly. The Mr. and the Sinister kept on messing me up. Anyway, the Outsiders arrive in Kadim to rescue Sophia from Ra's al Ghul. Katana and Black Lightning have this moment where Katana questions. Black Lightning is kind of stoic. He says he could never kill, and questions, think about killing someone you really wanted to kill. Do you feel pleasure from it? Would you deny that nature? But before he can actually answer, they have to set off to their mission to save Sophia. They locate her, but she's been drugged by Ra's al Ghul, and she and several of Ra's forces fight the Outsiders. And so it's a lot of action going on within this comic. It's primarily an action based issue. So story, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It's a good story, good issue of Batman and the Outsiders. Like I said before, primarily action filled. The art and the coloring, I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. Great art and coloring here. Works so well with the action. The art and coloring never fails to disappoint within this book. The cover itself, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. It's good art and coloring, but this has nothing to do with the interiors. Ra's isn't even in this book. Duke is at the end, but there's no pawn of the demon where Ra's grabs Duke and Black Lightning tries to save him. It doesn't happen. But moving on to Detective Comics number 1011, written by Peter J. Tomasi, art by Christian Deuce, the coloring by Louis Guerrero, the cover by Gula March and Ari Priento. So with the help of the World War II survivors, Batman is able to incapacitate Deadshot, but Deadshot is able to flee, injuring one of the survivors as Batman goes to confront him, dealing with Deadshot. Deadshot believing, he has the advantage here, but he obviously doesn't. He doesn't know that he's fighting Batman, and Batman is able to deal with Deadshot accordingly. Day saved. Nice and simple issue. So story, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. Good, like I said. Nice, simple conclusion to this story arc involving Deadshot. Day saved, Deadshot dealt with. Hooray. The art and coloring, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5. Great art and coloring within this issue, definitely. The cover itself, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5 as well. Great art, great coloring on the cover. So onto Flash, Mirror Mastered. So this issue of Flash, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Rafa Sandoval, coloring by Arif Priento, the cover by Sandoval, Jordi Toronga, and Tamao Mori. So Psych betrays the rest of the Force users, looking out for himself, forces them to attack one another as he escapes. And while this is going on, the rest of the rogues try to recruit Mirror Master back to their team, but more importantly, Cold is looking for his sister, Glider, who is not present with Mirror Master, given their relationship. But back onto the main story, as the other Force users, the remaining ones, the Strength and Steel Force users, want to help Barry deal with the Black Flash, but Barry has them incapacitated so they don't become targets, and he heads off to find Psych and to deal with the Black Flash, who is still going after Psych, since Psych is using his powers a lot and has just become a huge moving target for the Black Flash. So story, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Good art, not good art, sorry. Skipped ahead there. Good story. Story's progressing really well. The art and the coloring. Now into the art and coloring. The art and coloring, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5. Great art, great coloring here, definitely. And then the cover, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. There's good art and coloring, but this cover has nothing to do with the interiors. The Mirror Master part of this issue is very minimal, much like the rest of the Rogue stuff within this story arc so far. So Flash does not face Mirror Master at all, doesn't get trapped in mirrors whatsoever. Mirror Master doesn't even actually use his powers in this book. Funny enough, remember when DC recalled those issues of Superman and Supergirl because the covers didn't match the interiors? Well, what about this? What about Flash? The covers haven't reflected the interiors at all. The Rogue stuff has nothing to do with the Death of the Speed Force story arc, which is the story arc of this comic. So. I mean, it's good art and coloring. The story is really good. I am enjoying it, but come on, give me a cover that actually represents what's going on in this book. Like I said, the Rogue stuff is minimal and has nothing to do with the overall story arc of the Death of the Speed Force. So moving on to Justice League Odyssey number 13, written by. If I remember correctly, it's right at the end. Written by Dan Abnett, art by Will Conrad, coloring by Rain Barreto, and the cover by Conrad and Barreto. So, at a Zamaron research station outside the remains of the Source Wall, Hax and Red Lantern Dexter are working with a masked figure occult to fight off against Darkseid. They know of his intentions with the Ghostrifter, and they want to try and stop him. They're able to retrieve what they believe to be New Gods, but it turns out to be Blackfire, Jessica Cruz's corpse, and a cube. As Blackfire isn't particularly happy about being there, and to no one's surprise at all, Jessica is back. Jessica is resurrected. Her ring was shattered trying to stop Darkseid's Omega Beams, and they combined with one another somehow, and it eventually rejuvenated her. So Jessica meets their saviors just as Darkseid sends his para angels to deal with them, and that's mainly what goes on within this issue. So story, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Plot's progressing really well. Getting some new players into the mix here to fight off against Darkseid and his forces. It's good to see that other Lantern members are not forgotten. Good to see a Red Lantern every once in a while. The art and coloring, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5. Great art and coloring within this issue. The cover, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5 as well. That's great art and coloring, but this really has nothing to do with the interiors. Rise of the New Gods, apart from like flashbacks, these characters don't appear within the comic. I mean, apart from like flashbacks and mentions, they're not there. So cover has nothing to do with the interiors. DC, what are you doing nowadays? Back in the day, we would have a problem with Marvel doing this. Marvel was notorious for fake covers that had nothing to do with the interiors. Now it's DC, but luckily it is a good comic. But overall, that is it for these reviews. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.